Brian Alvarez and Big Vinny V.
I play the entire song. Hi, it's the Brian Vinny Show, everybody. Here it is February 7, 2019. Figure4online.com/wrestlingobserver.com. Joined by Vinny as always. No Craig here today because I forget what his excuse was. What was it?
He's got to work in the morning.
Oh yeah, he's got to work in the morning. Doesn't he work every morning?
He has to work earlier on Fridays.
I see. Well, luckily we have a special guest here tonight, Shane Tierney, who is a loyal listener, loyal Whale Scout, a loyal Giraffe shirt purchaser. Shane, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thanks for having me. This is great.
That's right. Shane is one of the individuals that donated to the Whale Scout fundraiser. He is here, the first of 4 this year. You were there at the which show was it that I met you at?
I was actually at both Black Label shows.
Both of them.
Yep. So, I live in Chicago, basically, so it's just a short drive over there. So I went over there and I met you at the first one, and then I came back with my Whale Scout hat for the second one.
I do remember the Whale Scout hat for the second one.
Yeah.
This man's as loyal as they get, Vinny.
I see.
Yeah. And Rob, you're lucky you don't live around here. Poor Rob.
Poor Rob.
All right, Rob, let's tell your story. Rob's been waiting to tell this story here for hours, I can tell.
What story? I have no story.
The snow. Don't bullshit me.
There's no bullshit.
Tell me how shitty the snow is.
Wreck the last 2 weeks, but that's beside the point.
Yes, tell us about the snow. How bad was it today? The lines. You were
Fred
ready to
Meyer.
kill
God,
somebody
Fred
when you
Meyer.
got here.
Jesus Christ, Fred Meyer. Yeah, it was like literally 3/4 of the county was in Fred Meyer today.
Yeah.
The lines were literally halfway down the aisles. They had to have somebody directing traffic to point people into the right lines to go.
Yep.
So there wasn't mass chaos and anarchy in Fred Meyer.
Yeah. Yep. Store today, Vinny?
I swung by QFC actually right before I came here. So after the madness, but I can still see the carnage. All the fruit gone, most of the bread gone, all the eggs gone.
Yeah,
most of the milk
people
gone.
in bread. Like, we're gonna have 4 inches of snow and everyone has to get all the bread?
I guess it better be.
Is this like in the 19th century? What's with the fucking bread?
I'll be eating toast for days.
There's so much actual food there. I went to the Safeway. There's food everywhere.
Yeah.
But like, everybody grabbed the bread. What the fuck is with bread?
I don't understand because
It's weird.
I mean, I guess if you're
There's pasta. There's soup.
if you're afraid you'll lose power,
chicken.
if you're afraid to have no power for days, you can just grab a slice of bread and eat it. But there's foods you can grab and eat too.
Yeah, it was just weird. The lines were crazy out the door. Like, I got all these other idiots telling me how it's not so bad here because where they're at, there's like, oh, we always get 12, 16 inches of snow. Yeah, you don't get fucking ice. People are dying here in Seattle because of the ice. You aware of that?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, some college girl the other day slipped on the ice,
Yes.
hit her head and died.
Yes.
Yeah, because of the ice.
Mhm.
So everyone laughing and joking that Seattle's getting 4 to 6 inches of snow. It's a fucking disaster here. It's a disaster. There are a lot of bad things happening here because of this 4 to 6 fucking inches of snow and ice and all these hills. It sucks. Now we got more coming tomorrow. So we'll see if we have a show Sunday.
See how it goes. Yeah,
And then maybe early next week.
we got snow on. So Sunday night was big snow. I don't know if you ever talked about my journey home after the Sunday night Brian V show.
I just know you left.
I left here.
You
Everything
didn't die.
Everything was fine until I got to Issaquah, and then it started to snow hard, which is the last 10 miles of the trip basically. I'm going 35 miles an hour in a 70-mile-an-hour zone. Can't see a damn thing because it's all snowing in my face, and going very, very slow on the freeway. I made it home, but it kept on snowing all night. I think we got about 8 inches in my house, and
Got 7 inches here.
yeah, 4 days later, it's still there.
Oh, yeah. It hasn't melted.
It's still powdery.
No, and people don't understand. If you live in a place where the snow doesn't melt, you just have snow on the ground.
Mhm.
But like here, because it's a little warmer, you get snow, then it melts a little, then it turns into a sheet of fucking ice. And then the snow doesn't go away. It's deadly. So yeah, that's what we're looking at here. Shane was not expecting this when he paid his money for the co-host on the Brian and Vinny show. He's in Chicago.
Yes.
I know he's not trolling me on the board though. He understands the pain of snow.
No one in Chicago understands anything about cold weather.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Come on. No,
It was only negative 50 last week.
Ah. Yeah, may as well be negative 50 here. Tell us about yourself, Shane, and we're gonna get going on this show.
Sure. So I've been.
Why did you decide to do this show of all things? Watching Nitro.
Well, I didn't know what Nitro was taking place. I just knew. Spoiler alert for everybody, but I just knew Kane came out. This is, I don't know. I read a list of best episodes of Raw in 2000, and this was in all of the lists.
It was one of them.
Because of Kane.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know. The Kane pop at the end was apparently the big thing that everybody remembers from the show. Besides the 10-man tag.
it's not even the biggest pop of that segment. I was gonna say.
I know.
We'll get to that.
But yeah, I've been a wrestling fan for about 2 years. Yeah, very recent.
Okay,
And-
hold on a second. Whoa,
Yeah.
wait.
How old are you?
2 years?
Yeah, I'm 30.
You started watching
but-
when you were 28 in 2017?
2016, SummerSlam 2016 was my first pay-per-view.
What was the main event of that show? I'm looking it up right now.
Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton. He busted him open hard away.
Oh, actually, well, yeah. If you're gonna become a fan, that's not a bad match to watch for
Right.
your fan debut.
So, I wasn't allowed to watch wrestling when I was a kid. My mom thought it was too
Parents.
violent. So,
Okay, and then what happened in the first 10 years of your adulthood? You had a decade to watch it. What were you doing? Well, with WWE in the mid-2000s.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. That, and I was at school. Honestly, most of the guys I knew in high school who liked wrestling, they weren't the nicest people on the planet. So, I didn't really want to be involved with it. So,
Yeah, I know those types.
yeah. So, but I've kind of gone full bore into it. I'm trying to branch out more because right now the easiest thing to access is WWE, but I'm trying to watch a little more New Japan.
Sure. Little Black Label Pro.
A little Black Label Pro, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. I used to work for, so in the 2 years, I worked for a wrestling promotion out in Joliet, Illinois, where I technically live, because anyone in Illinois who lives in a suburb says they live in Chicago. But I worked for them for a little bit as a DJ. And then my wife got into wrestling because it would be on Mondays and Tuesdays, and she couldn't avoid it. And she got into it because of all people Becky Lynch. That's her favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
And so she got into it. She even allowed me to name our firstborn child after a wrestler. So
Is it Kane? May I ask the wrestler? Is it Cesaro?
it's Undertaker. No, I'm kidding. It's
Franny would be so proud.
His first name's Finn, and his middle name is Balor. So his name is
Wow.
Finn Balor Tierney. Yep.
Oh, if you could only see the look in his face.
I just wanted to see Finn McCool. That'd be,
McCool?
Where do you think Finn Balor got it?
Well, how about that?
Yeah. So because she gave me a list of names, and on the list was Finn. And so I said, oh, it'd be really funny if we named him Finn Balor, and she likes the way he looks. So she's like, I'm not opposed to that.
Finn Balor Tierney. Man, oh man.
How old is the boy? He just turned 1 in December.
Enroll him in some gymnastics classes.
Yes. Get those crunches going.
Put a little meat on those bones.
That's what I'm planning to do, actually. I really want him to take gymnastics.
Yes.
And then, but other than that, I work for an audiovisual company as my main day job, selling AV equipment. And then I DJ on the weekends, so.
And what a voice. You're in trouble, Vinny.
I'm always in trouble.
Oh, man. All right, well, excellent to have you. It is amazing to know that there are, in fact, people that started watching WWE starting 2 years ago.
I was going to say,
I thought it was impossible.
I have met wrestling fans of all ages, races, religions, creeds, genders. I don't think I've ever met anyone who became a fan in their late 20s.
Hey, it happens.
Okay.
I had a buddy in his mid-30s that started to become a fan because he managed to, he was watching TV and came across New Japan on Access.
Oh.
And he was like, fuck, this is awesome.
Well, it is.
Now he's a fan, yeah. All right, let's get going here. So Shane, here's how it works. We're gonna do the show, and you just jump in.
Okay.
Sometimes we have guest
Very
hosts
complicated.
kind of sit there the whole time and are afraid to say anything, but don't be that guy. You're a DJ.
You got it. I'll be there.
I want Vinny needing to jump in.
Do you have an air horn to play when you have a comment or anything?
Yeah.
I don't. I don't have my. I should have pulled
Do
that.
you have
up
a
on my-
flag like I gave Rob?
I do around here.
Can you wave the flag vigorously enough
Okay,
we hear
he's
it over
got
the
it, Vinny.
microphone?
Would you shut up? Let's get going.
WWF Retro Raw number 350, February 7th of the year 2000. So, we had a recap of SmackDown, which is even more amazing than I remember. So the gimmick was, the Radicals were given matches, 2 singles matches and a tag match. And I think they had to win 2 out of 3 to get jobs.
Yes.
So Dean Malenko wrestles X-Pac. I think Dean trained X-Pac or his dad did or something, but X-Pac wins. Dean Malenko is a loser.
Yes.
The tag match is Eddie Guerrero and Saturn versus the New Age Outlaws. Now, I don't know if that's the planned finish, but Eddie hit a frog splash and dislocated his elbow. And he was in great pain, and so Road Dogg just pinned him.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that Eddie was supposed to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
But
Radicals...
otherwise, I mean, what's the point? In fact, I know he was supposed to win.
Because what was the point of the third
Yeah,
match?
what's the point of the third match?
So the Radicals are already jobless, but they still got to do Chris Benoit versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley in the main event.
Yes.
Chris Benoit's last match in WCW, he won their World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
He is the how would you call it, linear WCW champion at this point. Now, I remembered that Hunter beat him. I forgot that Hunter kicked out of the headbutt and hit the pedigree and won.
Where the hell have you been?
Well, 20 years have gone by.
Yeah, I remember this vividly.
So that's what happened, everyone.
That is what happened. This was the where Triple H went backstage and he said that Benoit was a good hand and he could be carried.
Huh.
Yeah.
I watched the recap, and now that you say that they changed the finish of that second match, it makes more sense because literally my
Yes.
first note is like they couldn't give the Radicals anything.
No, Eddie, they were supposed to win the second match and Eddie got hurt, so they did their finish and that was that. Made the whole thing all weird.
Yes.
Show did.
So here on Raw, X-Pac comes out. So Tori was Kane's girlfriend. She spent the holidays with X-Pac due to mass stipulation and said he was a perfect gentleman. And now another month has gone by. So now she and X-Pac are suddenly a couple, and Kane is institutionalized again.
Yeah, I didn't know where he was.
That's what they said.
Yeah. But see, I actually didn't hear that part, so you telling me that now is kind of filling me in.
Okay.
I'll talk about. I don't want to spoil it now, but I do want to talk about Kane's return at the end of the show when we get to it.
At the end.
Yes, in the end.
So before X-Pac can say anything, the Radicals all come out, and X-Pac bails, thinking he's outnumbered 4-1. They say they are just there to talk. Have we talked about Perry Saturn and Chris Benoit getting these super fancy dress shirts that are like 4 sizes too big?
Well, yeah.
It's a 90s thing or 2000s
Yeah,
thing.
it is a 90s thing.
Yeah. So they all say, we tried to make a noise. We tried to make an impact. We wanted contracts. And Dean says, we were good. We were damn good, but not good enough. We blew it. Crowd is chanting for Eddie. Thanks the fans for their support and the privilege of performing in front of them. And Benoit says, it's time to thank the man who made it possible, Cactus Jack.
I gotta say that, jumping ahead here a little bit, as it turns out this is all a swerve, and they all jump and beat up Foley at the end, but I didn't remember that at the time, so I'm watching this segment here, thinking, could these guys be bigger geeks?
And the answer is no.
This fucking promo where they come out here and, oh man, it's a privilege to be able to perform in front of you guys, and we did our best, but we just weren't good enough. We blew it. Like, you guys are just geeks. That turns out it was all a swerve, so I was better by the end.
Okay.
Man, they buried him at the beginning.
So Jack comes out, but before he can talk, Hunter and Steph come out on top of the stage. Speaking of geeks, who the hell wrote Stephanie McMahon's dialogue?
I don't know, but I really wanted to see 2019 Steph after watching her here. I was like, oh my god.
This convocation of admiration makes me want to puke. She is just beyond awful here. The worst of Stephanie McMahon. There are lots of Dallas Cowboys references for some reason. I don't really know why. The Cowboys in this age were not anything relevant. Hunter says none of them can get the job done, but they're all still here. At this point, Hunter, who was fresh off taking 5 men to beat him up last week on Raw, fresh off beating Benoit with his finisher on SmackDown, Hunter challenges Cactus to one last match and No Way Out. He's unstoppable.
Oh yeah,
He's a
I
juggernaut.
told you this. When they did that angle with Foley, where he beat Foley before
Yes.
the Royal Rumble, and everybody's defending that. Look at it in hindsight now. They're building up this big match for No Way Out, and I'm just sitting there as a fan going, "This dude's got no chance. He's got no chance.
No one can beat Hunter. or
No,
something.
he's unstoppable."
Yes. So any type of match Cactus wants, but no barbed wire 2x4s, no thumbtacks, just a match, plain and simple. So Jack chooses Hell in a Cell. Hunter immediately realizes he has made a mistake, but he has a huddle with Steph. He agrees, but then he wants to put Cactus Jack's career on the line. And Jack agrees to this, but if he wins, he gets to be in the WrestleMania main event, period. No title matches between No Way Out and Mania. And Hunter accepts. So, to clarify, it's Hunter versus Jack for the title at No Way Out. If Hunter wins, Jack retires. If Jack wins, he's a champion and he main events Mania. Great. So Hunter says he wants to fight Jack now. He's making his way down to ringside and tells the Radicals you can say thank you to the man who gave you the opportunity and gave you contracts. And Jack says, hey, wait a minute. And then the Radicals all beat him up. And Hunter hits a pedigree because of course he does. So it wasn't bad, but God, it went
It
forever.
went forever. Like, they talk about 20-minute opening segments. This may have been a 30-minute opening segment. I mean, they did a very good job building up the match, but I just didn't buy it. I mean, granted, I know what happens, but, I mean, if you've watched the storyline, Hunter beats him at every turn. They couldn't even give the guy the one win on Raw to give him that one smidgen of credibility where you could think in the back of your mind, you know what? Maybe he could beat this guy again.
Even on this show.
Nope.
Spoiler alert, they're in a 10-man tag later.
Nope.
So, Hunter gives the Radicals a pep talk, and as I said, he announces a 10-man tag where it'll be himself, X-Pac, Benoit, Saturn, and Malenko against Mick Foley and any 4-parters he can find. They all have a big laugh at this.
Is this where the no friends thing started? Because, like, nobody came out to help Mick Foley.
Oh, no, it's been going on forever.
By the end, they did.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he did have friends there at the end.
Showed up late.
Yeah. The New Age Outlaws versus Edge and Christian.
Man, I watched this match, and the women are just going crazy for Edge and Christian. Like, do we see that nowadays? I know that Shane, your wife, likes Finn Balor, but I don't seem to recall, like, watching Raw and hearing, like, women squealing for Finn Balor.
You're right. I don't think they go as crazy. Now, like, I'm in a couple Facebook groups of, like, wrestling fans, and all the girls in there fawn over Finn Balor, but, like, it's not like that at the live events. I've been to almost every Raw and SmackDown that's come to the Chicago area since I started watching, and yeah, it's not like that at all.
This is what's missing in wrestling today.
It is like that.
This is what Filthy and I want to bring back.
Hot men.
No, women screaming at us, you idiot.
I was gonna say it is like that when my wife sees Randy Orton.
That's true.
And that one specific example, I can
Yeah.
verify.
Vinny's wife makes him take photos on his phone of Randy Orton on the TV.
I'm gonna say make.
But I mean, like, why did you just Google
It
it?
earns me brownie points.
There's a way better picture on the internet, I'm sure, than what you take on your phone of my TV.
That's true.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's true.
I actually may have some Randy Orton photos from ringside the other night. Let me look.
Yeah. She'll enjoy it.
Maybe she'll bring me some cookies.
So, this Outlaws versus Edge and Christian match here seemed like a hell of a match, but I can't quite be sure because usually it was the W's on camera. He came out with doing commentary. Devo was actually awesome on commentary, by the way. Bubba just stood over JR and intimidated him the whole time. So, Christian has the win with a reverse DDT. The place is just going nuts. But Billy breaks up the pin, and then Bubba interferes. Road Dogg gets the pump handle slam and wins.
Oh, I got some excellent Randy Orton pictures. Very, very close up as well.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
She'll be thrilled.
I'm going to send them to you.
All right. Let's see, the Dudleys bully JR for a while until Edge and Christian chase them away. Henry tells Mae Young not to go to ringside. She's pregnant, you see. Pregnant with his child.
Yes.
Yes.
They keep saying she is with child.
Yes. Airdrop. 4 photos from Brian Alvarez.
Is that how you referred to it, Shane, with your wife, that she was with child? You told your friends?
No, I was like,
This is my wife. She is with child.
She wasn't the Virgin Mary, so I was like, she's pregnant.
Okay.
So
I like the
when did
term.
he announced she was pregnant?
Well, they didn't on this show, you see.
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of stuff that happens on SmackDown that they do a shitty job of recapping, so they just presume that everybody watches everything.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the first time I knew that she was pregnant. I mean, aside from knowing from years ago. I don't remember any other storylines on this show about her being pregnant. I wonder if she gives birth on this show or if it's on, like, SmackDown. I would hate to miss that.
So we have a Kurt Angle promo. Tells us all he's not the same as Mark Henry, even though they're both Olympians. He is successful, you see, while Mark Henry's greatest accomplishment is knocking up Mae Young. Which,
Hey,
which he notes did require intensity.
Yeah, that reminds me, by the way. So, Shane, do you know where the Mae Young storyline goes?
I do not.
Oh, boy.
Because he just started watching
Oh, are you in for a treat?
2 years ago.
Yeah, so like,
Are you
so I
following
went-
along every week?
So actually, no. I went back to the very first episode of Raw, and I'm currently I'm watching Raw, and then they don't have any WCW Saturday nights from that era.
No.
So I'm watching the pay-per-views. So I'm getting to the Monday Night Wars.
I
but like,
see.
I'm at Bash at the Beach 93 right now.
Oh, my God. You're in for a treat coming up, my friend. In a lot of different ways. Have you heard of Vince Russo?
Oh, I have.
Okay, just checking. Kind of sad, actually. Go ahead.
So, Kurt Angle versus Mark Henry. Mark Henry immediately throws Kurt Angle onto his head. And then Mae Young comes shuffling out. Mark takes a backdrop on the floor for a 400-pound man.
Do you know how many times in his career that Mark Henry has gotten hurt?
A few.
And every time he has a match, he takes a bump outside.
Yeah.
Remember when he was all banged up and he had that feud with Brock, and Brock just kept giving him moves outside on the floor? It's like they're trying to kill this poor guy.
So, Mae hits the ring. She attacks Kurt for the DQ. But Kurt grabs her, hits her with an angle slam, and then does the gold medal celebration.
And they play his music.
And they play his music.
I guess because he killed an old lady
won.
who was with child.
He didn't win the match.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
All I wrote is, the fuck is going on?
The
Why did he win the match? An old lady entered the ring and he attacked her.
No, she hit him first.
Oh,
Mark
I
Henry was
got it.
disqualified.
I got it. Mark Henry was disqualified because an 80-year-old woman hit Kurt Angle.
Hey, it's interference.
That was ridiculous.
The Rock arrives at the building. EMTs tend to Mae backstage. She is so hurt that she clarifies she likes to be on top of Mark, and then she wants to take her shirt off.
Yes.
That poor EMT.
You know what, though? Like, so they do the deal where you only see her from the back and she takes her top off, and then they zoom in on the EMT and he's just appalled. And so, like, that's funny, except it's WWE, so they keep filming this guy, and he has to remain appalled for like 30 seconds. And by the end, they killed the joke.
Well, that's what they do.
That is what they do.
Hollies versus the Acolytes in a hardcore tag team match.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I believe Viscera's white cousin was doing security. Just a huge man outside. So they immediately brawl over the concession stands. Bottles are broken all over Farouk's head. Oh, everyone's head. It's like Nitro over here. And they're on or in a bar when here comes Viscera.
Yeah. Vera.
And
He snuck in.
maybe it's icy there. Because Viscera comes running screen and he slips and he falls down. The earth shakes. The concrete breaks. He gets up and he breaks the 2x4 over Bradshaw's back. I laughed and I laughed and I laughed and I laughed and I laughed. Crash Holly gets the pin.
What in the hell was this I wrote?
Yeah, it was, my wife walked in during this, and it was embarrassing. She saw Viscera eat
It
shit
always is.
laughing. It's
Yes.
just... Now, my favorite part, though, was, like, I think it was Bradshaw moved the popcorn machine and lightly tapped one of the Hollies with it, and, like, the Holly, like, bumped like crazy for it. It was insane.
I remember this because it was like, they didn't plan this, and he didn't know just maybe how hot it was or how heavy it was. And thought this would be
Yeah,
safe
maybe
here.
it was burned.
May have been, yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened.
So Jericho versus Viscera.
Yeah, Viscera's just in a backstage brawl, and then now he's in a match?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. So Jericho does a promo, calls Viscera the love child of Mr. T and Fat Albert. Also calls him Viscera the Hut.
That was funny.
So, oh God.
Oh my God.
Oh, this segment. I
Let's
forgot
talk
this.
about Chris Jericho.
I
here.
forgot about this until right
All right.
now. Yes.
Chris Jericho, he is an all-time great. You understand?
I do.
And he is a great wrestler, and he is a great worker. All right.
By the way, is present tense.
Sure.
That's still going
Okay.
on, yeah.
He was great back then, but he did have a reputation when he came to WWE of being a little bit sloppy. And a lot of that was overblown and unfair. Okay? Not in this match. First thing this guy does, he gets whipped into the ropes, and he goes to put his arm up, and he misses, and he fucking snaps his neck and almost kills himself. Falls down.
Almost cuts his own head off.
Yep. So then he goes for his springboard, like the Silver King died, but he has a drop kick. Fucking slips, flops, falls on the ground. Then he goes for a baseball slide, and I think that he was supposed to miss and just land on his feet, but he missed his feet, and he just splatted on the ground. It was like 3 things in 10 seconds that he messed up. But he got it back on track. I gotta give him credit for that.
So he's making his comeback, and the Hollies attack for the DQ.
Who would ever think that in a Chris Jericho Viscera match that the sloppy one would be Chris Jericho?
It is amazing.
Yeah.
It is amazing. So the AP attacked Viscera. Now we already talked about Viscera falling on his ass backstage. Talked about Chris Jericho having a very bad night. They were both miles and miles and miles ahead of the Acolytes. This was the worst 40 seconds of their careers in this post-match brawl. They kind of attack Viscera. They're trying to do double teams. They can't get on the same page. Neither one's in the right spot. Farouk runs the rope. Farouk almost decapitates himself. He does the same thing. I've seen guys do this. I've done it. It happens to everyone.
How
once in
the
a while.
fuck did you do it? You're so tall.
That tells you how horrible I was.
Yes, it does.
But
I've never done that.
it's because it's over your head.
That should make it easier, because I got to reach up farther to get the rope.
No, it's over your head. You have to jump up and get your neck on it.
Are we thinking of two different things?
Yeah, because the top rope is so high, Brian, you'll run right underneath it. You're short, you see.
That's what they're doing when they mess up.
Point is, all right,
Do you understand what I'm saying, Rob? Your neck has to go under the top rope.
yeah, but then come up at neck level.
I know, but first your head has to go under the rope. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And you're tall, so how does that even happen?
Well, that's how bad I was.
Okay.
Okay. Point being, I've seen this 100 times.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen it twice in the same segment.
No, it's incredible.
So
Makes you think there was a hole in the ring over there.
something. This is an amazing train wreck. This
Yes.
Jericho, Viscera, Hollies, APA segment.
Sucked.
At this point, I wrote, radicals mutter incoherently.
Well, Michael Cole's there, my main man Michael Cole. And he is trying to give the Radicals a guilt trip. I can't believe what you guys did to Mick Foley. He brought you in. They're like, we don't give a shit. Well, what if he has to go out there tonight with no partners? We don't give a shit. Cole's trying so hard. I don't know what he was trying to get out of him. Like, you're right, Michael. We are shitheads. We are very bad people, and we apologize. Didn't happen. They told him to fuck off. It's all about the money.
Pretty much how it went.
That's exactly what it was. That's what they said.
Kevin Kelly let us know he will interview The Rock later.
Yep. Why was Luna mad at Gangrel?
She was not mad at Gangrel. She was mad. She was ranting to Gangrel.
Yeah, and he's trying to calm her down, and I was like, why bother, dude? Well, it's Luna.
It's Luna.
Just let her go.
Best part is she's ranting and ranting. He tries to calm her down, tries to level her off. She just keeps going. She keeps going. And then Luna, in her voice, shouts, "And furthermore!" I cried with laughter.
Yes. She's very, what would be the word?
Erudite?
Thank you, Vinny. Erudite.
All right, remember last week?
Like myself.
Remember last week when Harvey Whippleman won the women's title in one segments ever?
I'd already forgotten, but yes.
Well, now Jacqueline's champion.
Yeah, I don't know
No
what happened.
explanation for what happened.
I have no idea.
Lost it at SmackDown one day after winning.
Oh, wow.
Poor Harvey.
That could have been a shoot.
So Jackie beats Luna in 2 minutes with a German suplex. And then Gangrel grabs
So
Jacqueline.
why was Luna mad again? I'm still confused.
I have no idea.
Okay.
So I guess Jackie hit her at some point. So after the match, Gangrel grabs Jacqueline and hits a big DDT on her.
Yeah.
And
So is he the champion now?
I'm supposed to be appalled and outraged, but last week I saw a woman go through a table.
Yeah, this is low level.
This is
assault here.
I just saw an 80-year-old woman take an angle slam an hour ago.
Yeah.
So this is just an active wrestler taking a DDT is minor.
Hey, how long you been watching this, Shane? These old things. I know it's been 2 years as a fan, but when did you start going back and watching this stuff?
I started probably around WrestleMania 2017. So right around then, but it's been a slow process.
But that's when you started watching the old stuff, you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
the old stuff, yeah.
So, like, as a person who was watching WWE, and you saw the women's evolution and everything they do nowadays, like, what do you think going back and seeing some of this stuff with the women? They're naked.
Yeah.
People are beating the shit out of them.
I don't like it. It's weird. I don't know. Like, everybody is like, I just remember people talking about the Attitude Era and being like, it was the best wrestling ever, and you know, it was a great period. And I'm going back and watching it, and like, as much as people don't like that when Brian's right, you're right, dude. Like,
Thank you.
when it's
I made man Shane.
when it's Stone Cold Steve Austin, when it's The Rock, when it's Vince McMahon, it's really
Kane.
good. Yeah, Kane, Undertaker, all those guys. And so
That's a
it's
best of
just-
moment right there.
Yeah, and just now now it's just, and like now we have people like Seth Rollins and all these great workers and things like that. That if they can do what they can do, they'll have great matches and stuff. But yeah, the Attitude Era, from what I've seen, doesn't impress me all that much.
Yeah, it's been a little underwhelming going back. Not gonna lie.
It's about to get. This is better than most.
Well, yeah, this is gonna get better. The other side's gonna get worse.
Yes,
I do know
Right.
that.
Taz hype video.
It was awesome.
It was awesome. He ended Kurt Angle's streak of the Royal Rumble and then basically disappeared.
I was gonna say he debuted at the Rumble.
Their
We've not
follow-up
seen him.
sucked.
We haven't seen him one time since the Rumble.
He came out and choked Angle out again the next night, but yeah. So he's
Did he on Raw?
Yeah.
I have no memory of this.
It was that. I don't blame you. it was brief. So he's from the streets.
Oh, I do remember because he was so short.
Yeah.
Because I know how tall Angle is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was short.
Yeah. He's from the streets. Taz is. Everyone he knew is dead or in jail. He's not afraid of anyone, and the mood is about to change.
Kind of depressing when you think about that line.
Yeah. Kevin Kelly interviews The Rock.
Okay, I gotta say something here. This was a famous Poontang Pie promo by The Rock. Kevin Kelly was so awesome in this segment.
Mhm.
He was the best.
There's a reason he did 90% of Rock's interviews.
He was the best at his job. He was a great personality. He was a great interviewer. He had great facial expressions. He had great byplay with all the talent. He was a great announcer. These assholes went with Michael Cole. Can you
The most
imagine?
important thing that you mentioned is that he's a personality. He
He's
has
a normal,
personality.
he's a likable fella.
Yeah.
He feels
You know,
real.
You have Dasha and Charlie just useless.
These robots.
announcing.
Yeah, Vinny,
Yeah.
the other day, you messed up. There was I think it was you, probably. Somebody was talking about how, oh no, it's Dave. Like in the middle of the Raw report, Dave goes, why did Charlie change her clothes? And I was like, I don't know, maybe they just wanted a wardrobe change. And he goes, but there was no reason for it. Like one segment she was in one outfit, and then later she was in another outfit. And I mean, part of me is like, why are we talking about this? We've been spending 40 minutes on Raw. Who gives a shit why she's wearing another outfit? But he just kept bringing it up. And then the next day we find out it's because one of them was Dasha.
Yeah.
Dude.
Which is a good reason.
I mean, come on.
It's not Dave's fault.
It's not Dave's fault. It's
No.
like, this is how generic these women are. But anyway, the point is, Kevin Kelly was so great, and they went with Michael Cole. It's just mind-blowing.
Well, he's slim.
He was so good with
Hair. He is the perfect anti-Rock.
Yes.
Like, we saw or will see some Jonathan Coachman skits with The Rock, and he tries to be the anti-Rock, but he takes it too far.
Yeah, he's too much.
phony and
He's too
unbelievable.
much of a geek.
Yeah, he's trying too hard.
Yeah.
Kevin Kelly has a natural geekiness to him that fits much better. He's perfect. So, they said Poontang Pie at least a dozen times in this segment. There's a Poontang Pie shirt that Rock put over Kevin Kelly's face, told him not to move.
Kevin Kelly with his shirt over his head was better than Cole.
Yes.
That's how much personality he had under that shirt.
So he promises to be the Big Show at No Way Out. The Rock does, not Kevin Kelly. And he announces that Cactus Jack may not have any friends, but he's got one. And it's not 5-on-1, it's 5-on-2.
What a nice guy.
And that popped just for the 2.
Yes.
Everyone just went ballistic. What city was this in? They should have never left.
Yeah.
They should be doing that city today. So yes, everyone, The Rock...
Well, if they did that city today, they would not get these reactions, Vinny.
That's also true.
Nor would they draw this crowd.
That's also true.
Yeah.
So yeah, The Rock was very good at promos, everyone.
Yeah.
This is another good one.
It was like, well, I guess Poontang Pie was new, but it was like all of his same material, and
Yes.
nobody was sick of it.
He's just The Rock, so he made it great. D'Lo and The Godfather admired their women for a while. Then we had D'Lo and The Godfather versus the Dudley Boys. So, Godfather's women distracted the ref, which let the Dudleys chop block The Godfather.
Yes. Best thing that ever happened to the Godfather.
Way to go, ladies.
He rolled outside and all of his women fawned all over him.
Yes.
As he clutched at his knee.
So D'Lo tried to go it alone. He hit the frog splash, but they broke up the pin, and they pinned him with the 3D. A table got set up, and Baby, the busty EMT, was out there, and they were going to powerbomb her through the table when Edge and Christian and the Hardys made the save.
And the women squealed when they came out to make the save.
Yes.
Man, these women used to love these guys. Now there's just no women left.
Michael Cole interviewed Cactus Jack. Jack says he's been proving people wrong for 15 years. He will find a way to get through tonight. He will find a way to get through Hell in a Cell, and he will main event WrestleMania. So this main event here, it was fresh in my mind 19 years later. I think I watched it 20 times in a row when it aired live.
Well,
And 19 years later, it's still unbelievably awesome.
by this point in my life, up until about, I'd say, 97, like late 97, I was able to just go back and watch everything a million times. And maybe it was because of the addition of Thunder and SmackDown that, like, come 98, 99, I watch everything once. I just didn't have the time. That's why when we were reviewing the stuff earlier, like, there would be promos from 96, 97. I remembered them word for word. I remembered matches move for move. Because back then, I could watch shit over and over and over again. Come 98, 99, 2000, it's like, it's one and done. I remembered this match. I didn't remember everything about it. I remembered he was unbelievably great.
I remember spots in it.
What I'd forgotten was what a shitty finish.
There was a horrible finish.
It was horrible.
That is true.
Like, I was watching it, I didn't remember the finish. Because it was just like, this is an awesome 10-man tag. And I figured, okay, well, like, you know, probably Mankind will pin Dean Malenko. That's what I presumed. Mankind's going to pin the really short one. Because, you know, he's going for the championship.
Sure. Getting Cactus a win would be a good idea.
Yep, or my second was Triple H will pin either Scotty or Grandmaster.
Yeah.
These were my two finishes that I thought we were going to have here, okay? And I was half right.
So the match, as announced, is Triple H, X-Pac, Benoit Malenko, and Saturn on one team. Rock and Cactus come out. So Cactus comes out first. Huge reaction. The Rock comes out. I don't have the words for the reaction he got from this crowd. They are coming out to 2-on-5, but who should come out to put their lives on the line and even the odds but Too Cool and Rikishi?
And all they did was have to dim the lights and start playing that music, and everybody went crazy. Remember when I said last week that I had this idea that Too Cool were higher on the totem pole than they really were?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember them being like upper mid-carders or almost main eventers, but really they were just, you know, low mid-card geeks.
Yeah.
Wrong. I guess this was what I remembered. They're out here in the main event, and the place is going crazy for them. This crowd loved everything in this match.
Yes.
And it was not like, you remember we used to always say, you cannot have a 6-man in the Raw main event and have it be bad.
Right.
Okay. Well, you can now. Because the matches are so fucking patterned that, like, they're going to get the heat. It doesn't matter how many guys are in the match. They're going to get the heat on one guy for, like, 14 minutes. And then they'll do all their near falls. Dude, whenever they got heat on somebody in this match, it was for, like, a minute. And then he got a tag.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got the heat on someone else. And then he got a tag.
Yeah.
The only extended heat segment was with Grandmaster,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That was the longest one. And then he goes for the tag. The ref doesn't see it. And after this amazing match. Everything is going so great. Grandmaster's in there, big six-way. Hunter, of course, he'll be stunned. He hits the pedigree on Grandmaster Sexay. Chris Benoit comes off the top with a diving headbutt, and Mick Foley tries to break up the pin.
But it's the finish.
How did he fuck this up?
I don't know.
Like, everybody's going crazy. And he breaks up the pin, and they go nuts because they think the match has been saved. Benoit is unmoving.
Yeah.
The referee just counts the pin. Everybody dies. I had forgotten that finish.
I had totally
that
forgotten
was
that
horrible.
too. It did not go well. I don't know if they changed things mid-match, or I don't know if Foley didn't get the memo backstage. But yes, the finish was bad. Very, very bad.
Yeah.
And it looks like, as far as I can tell, it's just on him. Because no one else is trying to break
he
this
fucked
pin.
up.
Maybe he thought it was real.
I don't
Just
know.
caught up in the moment.
Listen, when I watched this match, I had two thoughts. Number one, the Radicals had to be so happy.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
They went from World Championship Wrestling to this.
And the first two shows were rough.
They had to be on top of the world.
Oh my God.
And then my other thought was, Foley's got to be so pissed off that he's retiring now. Can you imagine deciding, I'm done? I'm going to have one more match with Triple H, and then I'm out of here. And the next week, the fucking Radicals show up, and you're in this 10-man tag? He's got to be kicking himself.
So the only other thing I can add here is, this was an awesome match, and it got an awesome reaction, but everyone was still true to themselves, by which I mean, Rikishi is a killer. But Too Cool, even though they will bravely step up and fight when no one else will, even though they will take on the odds, they're very courageous, but they are still comedy geeks.
Yeah.
Grandmaster Sexay, he goes up with a big leg drop, he puts the goggles, does the rub the goggles thing, takes flight, hits the big leg drop, and then instead of making a pin, he gets up and starts to dance, and he just trip him from behind and lay him out, and that's how they get the heat on him. But that's fine. He's Grandmaster Sexay.
Yep.
What do you want?
Everyone had a character. They
Yes.
weren't all the same.
No, they were not all the same.
Yes.
So even when he's put in a position to be the top, to be among the top guys, he still just go be Grandmaster Sexay.
Yep.
It's okay. Not everyone has to be Superman. We have the Rock and Cactus Jack to be Superman. You can be, I would have said Aquaman, but that's not
You
true
can be
anymore.
Grandmaster Sexay.
You can be Booster Gold. There you go. So Raw was awesome, everybody.
What did you think about that match, Shane?
I really liked it. One of the things that actually it was really funny this week, it reminded me of it. There was that tag team match on Raw with Heavy Machinery and Otis Dozovich.
Yes.
I remember last week you said, or whenever they did, or maybe it was a SmackDown match last week, he was doing all his dance moves and stuff, and nobody reacted whatsoever. And then this week he did it, and he got a pretty good reaction this week. And It reminded me of Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty 2 Hotty. Is a couple weeks ago on your review, you said they got no reaction for their dancing, and this week, sure as shit, they had a reaction.
It was bizarre when they first debuted. At first, they were too much.
Yep.
And Scotty's out there doing a worm, and everyone's just looking at him. Like, what's this creep doing? And now here we are a few months later, it's super over. And it was the same thing with Otis. Yeah, that first week he's doing all this stuff, and everyone's just looking at this big fat guy doing a worm. And now, man, when I went to the house show, and they were doing a dark match, and there's nobody there. SmackDown probably did there were probably 2,500 people in the building. And they're working Sanity, and Otis slams one of Sanity or whatever, and he stands there, and all he did was he just looked up, just like Scotty. And everyone started shaking. And he started doing the thing where he goes, and they started clapping along, and they were into it. It was super over.
Oh, this is awesome.
Oh, man, he's the best.
Yeah, I loved it. My wife, she looks at me like, because I go, I love Otis Dozovich, and she's like, what? And then this week she's like, I love him too.
She
And I'm
will
like,
love this man.
Yeah.
He don't look like Finn,
No, he doesn't.
but he's a man's man.
He ate Finn and all the rest of the Balors as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Take some licks, baby.
So we didn't even talk about this. The Outlaws come out with weapons. So DX and their new pals are beating up the good guys. 7-on-5 at this point, I guess. And then the lights go out.
God, I forgot about this.
I did too.
I forgot about it right now.
Paul Bearer, even though we talked about it earlier, Paul Bearer walks back out on stage. He's back now. He's got a red jacket. and out comes Kane.
Dude, when the match is over, the lights go out, and there's kind of like a weird sort of, I don't know if it was music or whatever, and like the Titantron shows this weird deal, and there are these two fists. And I'm like, who the fuck is this? Like Hunter S. Thompson is debuting in WWE? Who is this? Is it Taz? I didn't even understand. I couldn't figure out what the Titantron was. And then out comes a fat guy in red. I'm like, who is this? And then Kane's music hit. And the place went so crazy for Kane.
Yeah.
And what was weird was, I didn't even remember he was gone.
Well, he was on the show last week.
Maybe that's why. I could not figure out like why this was such a big fucking deal. But to these people, Kane coming out here was a big fucking deal.
Yeah, it's really weird because, like, on some of the articles I was reading, like, about when I was looking for an episode to pick, it said, like, he had been out on injury, and I was like, oh, okay, but then I kept listening to your reviews, and I'm like, no, he's still here, and then I thought, I didn't read up the SmackDown recap from last week. I thought maybe there was an injury angle on that one, maybe. I don't know. I have no idea why the place went so crazy.
They love them some Kane.
So he came
You know,
out
a bunch of filthy toms in the building.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is maybe when the lights went out, they almost thought, and then Paul Bear, they almost thought The Undertaker was coming back because it had been so long.
Well, he had been gone for a while. That's
Yeah.
I will attribute Kane's popularity to his inverted black and red gear.
Sure, yeah. I didn't even
okay.
notice that either.
Ass kicking gear. So he came out, hit a couple of choke slams, and the show ended.
Yeah, the show was awesome.
A great show.
Yeah, we're in the middle of the greatest run in WWE since the summer of '97.
I mean, there have been really, because it was a horrible show for years outside of Rock Austin and Vince and sometimes Foley. And it started to turn around when Angle showed up around November.
Yep.
And things have been much better since then. And I think this show, when the Radicals are allowed to wrestle, I mean, they were on last week's show, but they have kicked it up to many, many notches.
Yeah.
And I think from here to the end of the year is just fantastic.
Are you ready for your music, Vinny?
Always.
Well, that's not true, but
They don't know that.
that's not it. That's not
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
The finishes on this show
Cannon.
were pin after interference, DQ due to interference, pin after interference in a hardcore match, DQ due to interference, clean pin, clean pin, clean pin. At least they got all the bullshit out of the
Damn,
way.
it took like 14 seconds. That's got to be a record.
It's up there.
I got to tell you something about this Nitro.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, you're telling me. First, Vinny, give us the date of this Nitro.
I think I wrote it down wrong because this is January. So same day as Raw, so it would be February 7th of the year 2000.
All right. Wow, exactly. It says February 7th as well, since we're doing this on a Thursday. So, I don't know why I've never noticed this before, but I go to the network, and I go to load it up, and it says Nitro 229.
Okay.
We've watched 229
Yes.
Nitros.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
There's 52 a year.
I was ready to kill myself when I saw that. 200 and I've watched 229 Nitros twice.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And you wrote several books about them.
Oh.
Or the same book over and over, but yeah.
That was almost too much for me. That was almost. Forget the Russo ones we watched. When I saw that I've watched 229 Nitros 2 times, I was like,
And there's
what's
like,
happening? And it's gonna snow.
There's still like 60 to go.
Jesus fucking Christ. Oh.
And it was this one then when you realized that.
This was so bad. Okay, let me tell you something. Those Russo shows were like hideous. You know what I'm saying? Horrible. Okay?
I do.
But like he left, and then Sullivan and the crew came in, and like everybody talks about how boring they are. And like to me, you know, they're definitely more boring than Russo shows, but that's not a bad thing to me.
No.
Like, yeah, they could be more exciting, they could have bigger stars, they could have better wrestling, but they're not bad. They're just kind of there.
They're boring.
Okay.
I will take these boring shows
Fine.
over the horrible Russo shows.
Then I saw this show.
I see.
Okay? Is he back? What in the name of fuck was this show? This show was so bad. Am I wrong? Don't even tell me it was just boring. It was painfully
It
bad.
was definitely illogical. That's for sure.
I think the biggest thing for me is, as an audio guy who works in audiovisual,
Oh, it was
is
horrible.
all of the audio problems that were coming on, it was just a nightmare.
This was, and Danny Hodge is watching this show.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway,
So a recap of Thunder. Jeff Jarrett booked Sid in 3 matches.
can you imagine?
I'm gonna watch Sid
I'm not
wrestle 3
ever
times.
watching Thunder again. We're not going to go through the Thunders.
So he apparently beat Rotunda, beat Mike Rotunda, he beat Rick Steiner, and then beat the Harris twins. And somewhere in there, apparently somebody hit Rick Steiner with a bat. That's what I got out of this. So
I will put them over. At least they recap something.
That's true. They did tell us what happened, kind of. It was better than last week's recap.
So the audio problems are here from the get-go. Jarrett is giving the NWO speech, but he's drowned out by music.
Yes.
I can't hear a goddamn thing he's saying.
So I believe that they were playing 3 counts music in the ring, but it was bleeding over into backstage, and so they can't use 3 count song, and so they had to dub in another bizarre random song over a horribly produced segment in the first place.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear anything anybody said.
The only thing I got out of this is that Kevin Nash is not there again.
Yes.
So now we go to the ring. We're 3 counts in the ring.
And they're still playing a dubbed song.
They're still playing a dubbed song, but they have... See, this was intentional audio problems. Because the gimmick is 3 counts dancing was being sabotaged
Yes.
by Norman Smiley from the truck.
Yes.
So the music is skipping and going back and forth. I can only imagine what the network crew had to do. How can we screw up this music to match the music they screwed up then? Eventually, Evan announces there is a date with 3 count contest. Not a date with Evan, or Shane, or Shannon. A date with 3 count.
Yes.
So, like, all I can think of is this overthinking something.
This was an unmitigated disaster.
You have a perfectly fine boy band segment. These guys will come out, dance their shitty song, everyone will boo. That's fine. That works. That's like Nikolai singing the Russian anthem. You don't have to mess with it. It will get heat every time. But they had to mess with it here, and it's made it convoluted and confusing. It goes forever. Finally, we get Norman Smiley and Evan Courageous, and the match goes 90 seconds. And Norman fights off interference, reverses it all to win, and then they show Danny Hodge in the crowd.
Danny Hodge is cheering. Hey!
Hey. Then Norman,
Yeah.
who I believe now has beaten all 3 of them in individual matches.
Yes.
Now he wants to fight all 3 of them at once.
Yes. He says it's wiggle time. He goes into the aisle and he begins to wiggle in front of Doug Dillinger, who almost smiles. And it suddenly occurred to me that I have never seen Doug Dillinger smile.
Okay.
I'm the only one that cares. And Kayla changed her outfit.
Jay Biggs tells police officers that Booker is in possession of illegal contraband, tells the cops to search his bags. They find whatever he was looking for.
A tea.
I guess. And Booker says he has Biggs says he has plans for Booker's music. The NWO walks. A limousine arrives. It's Flair with some women's.
Still styling and profiling 6 feet under. Flair, you stole his name, but you couldn't steal his class. I know. He says he knows he wasn't alone. When Flair came out last week, himself and everyone else switched to WWE to see Stone Cold.
That's what he said.
A guy who Flair and all of his friends got fired from here because Flair is a jealous old bastard. Says Flair, in this business, there has never been a bigger ass-kissing, butt-sucking bastard. He's trying to say this, by the way. I can't do justice how badly he screwed up. Jealous, butt-sucking bastard. He mutilated it. He finally spits it out and says, Flair, you deserve to be in WCW because WCW sucks, and so do you. And then he adds, I'll stay here in the NWO for life. He fucking buried WCW.
Yeah.
6 feet under. He buried Ric Flair.
For no reason, by the way.
No, I don't even know why he's mad at Ric Flair. Why is he mad at Rick?
I think Scott Recksteiner is mad at Richard Fleer for not retiring.
Rick is supposed to be a heel.
Yeah, so Scott.
The NWO are heels.
Yeah.
There's no feud here that I'm aware of. Like, it was bizarre.
The best.
But it was amazing.
Yes. The best part to me is watching Jeff Jarrett and Scott Hall and the Harris twins in the background all look at each other because I don't think any of them knew this was coming. But they're all kind of looking at him like, well, you go interrupt him. I'm not interrupting him.
Nobody was interrupting this guy.
We'll just let him go.
There was also a great moment before he started talking where Mark Mann goes, they were in Tulsa. And Mann goes, you know what you get when you spell Tulsa backwards? There's a long pause, and Tony says, no, I don't. They moved on. The answer, everyone, is a slut.
Oh, Brian.
Yeah. That's what you get when you spell it backwards.
So eventually Jarrett lets Steiner speak his mind.
He sure did.
And then just gets back to work. He moves on with business. He announces Mark Johnson will be the referee for his match with
Yeah,
Sid.
Slick Johnson. He hasn't been a heel ref in 2 years. But now he's a heel ref again.
That would also be a no DQ match. And then for tonight, he books Sid Vicious to Scott Hall.
Oh, can you imagine?
Scott Hall's very upset by this. He fakes a limp to say he's hurt. And even better, he uses hand gestures to indicate Sid is tall and big.
Yeah, he does not care.
Keep in mind,
He's
Scott Hall,
trying to get fired.
Scott Hall 6'5" and 300 pounds himself.
Yes.
So he's also tall and big, but yeah. Booker.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I just, so this segment, you were right. That promo was awesome, but I literally wrote, it's a weird as fuck promo. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on. And, I will put one thing over for it, and actually it's this whole show. They're building the pay-per-view. It's 13 days away, and they did a bunch of little things building up the matches on it, like graphics, which is something I remember reading in your book was not something they always did.
No.
And
When
then,
Russo was in charge, they never built. I mean, they really never built to pay-per-views. It was all about getting ratings, and this crew is at least trying to build up pay-per-view matches to make some money.
Yep. And then my favorite line is at the end, Jarrett says Scott Hall will be all up in Sid's ass. And I was just like, we need to work on phrasing, guys. That was...
Yeah. Booker and Midnight walk backstage. Booker declares, they'll take my colors, they'll take my music.
His colors?
Apparently he can't use flames anymore.
Oh, huh.
They'll never take my dignity.
Plus his dignity is signed with Harlem Heat Incorporated.
Dignity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gene interviews David Flair, who has an I Quit match tonight against Terry Funk.
This was actually not a bad promo. He's got a match with Terry Funk later, an I Quit match. Of course, Flair and Funk had a famous one in 1989.
Ric Flair, yes.
Yes, and David says, tonight, I'll fight one of my father's battles for him. I watched this and I thought, you know what? This fucking guy could have been something. But they fucked it up. Like, look at Charlotte. She never even wanted to be a wrestler.
No.
She decided she wanted to be a wrestler because Reed died. Like, if David wanted to be a wrestler, and he would have had the opportunities that they have nowadays, I'm not talking about when they bought his contract and sent him to developmental. I mean, he could have been something. But such is life. Now he's just a crazy guy on this show.
My favorite part of this segment was when David leaves, and so Crowbar and Daphne do like a huddle. And they break the huddle with a chant of outside interference. 1, 2, 3. I laughed. So Booker, they took his Harlem Heat music away. I think the actual music they gave him at the time was more like Leave It to Beaver. Here they edited in some wacky polka music. It's Booker versus the Wall.
Can you explain to me why the Wall is getting a push?
No.
Wall?
He's big.
Big.
I can't. You know, I can. He's big, and Hulk Hogan's coming back and needs a big guy to fight.
That's true.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that.
So, in 3 minutes, Booker hits the axe kick. He hits the spinneroonie. He hits the bookend. The place is going nuts. Like this is a major star. And he's been Booker T for a long time, but he's not gotten a reaction like this. And then Jay Biggs distracts him, and the Wall hits a chokeslam and pins him.
The Wall pinned Booker T.
Yes. So at this point, Biggs orders the cops to arrest Booker for a number of charges related to the beating last week, including attempted murder.
Attempted murder.
I mean,
Isn't that everything on this show?
Assault for sure.
Yeah, I don't know about attempted murder.
Definitely assaulted Jay Biggs. That's no doubt about that.
Very, very excessive. And then Tony Schiavone actually says, nobody has ever been arrested on Nitro before. What?
I don't know. Brian Knobbs screams at Jarrett. I don't want to go to the whole rigmarole we did last week. He's mad at him. So he says again.
Well, allow me, Vinny.
Okay.
Last week, Brian Knobbs wanted a match with Finlay. And Jarrett said, you want to be in the same ring with Finlay? Fine, it's on. And ended up being Finlay was the referee, and Knobbs faced somebody else and got beat up. Lex Luger, right?
Yeah.
So this week, Jarrett says, if you'd paid me more, you would have wrestled Finlay. And then he goes, do you want to be in the same ring with Finlay tonight? The same fucking question that he asked the guy last week.
Yep.
That got him into this mess.
Yep.
And this fucking moron Knobbs goes, yeah!
Yep.
And the same thing happened again.
Yes.
He can't be a babyface. He's
No.
too dumb.
Are you kidding? No.
Well, it's WCW, so
That's fair.
it's possible, but...
Yeah, they didn't even tease it for later. He walks out of the room, they all laugh at him for being stupid, and
Yep.
they say Bam Bam Bigelow will be his opponent.
Yep.
And Phil will be the ref. Terry Funk questions Arn's loyalty,
Yep.
and Arn says, well, we'll see how you handle yourself in this match against David Flair tonight.
Funk tells him a man's got to do what a man's got to do.
Lenny and Lodi say they're going to challenge the Mamalukes. They have lines in here saying, we need a tag team Nizam.
God.
And afterwards, we'll go chase rats.
Yeah.
Tank Abbott versus the Barbarian.
Who has long hair now.
And, like, clothes.
It was weird.
Yes.
He looked like... I don't know what he looked like. He didn't look like a barbarian.
No. They had a sloppy brawl. The ref tried to get between them to separate them, and this gave Tank a chance to hit a big punch and knock Barbarian out and win via KO.
Mm-hmm.
As he is leaving, Big Al tries to confront Tank. The Tank blows him off.
This fucking feud. Tank and Big Al.
It's like Tank says, hey, I've got a friend I wanted to do an angle with.
Yeah, that's
And
what
they,
happened.
and they asked no more questions.
Nah.
He just said, cool.
What's his name? Big Al. Bring him in.
I don't even ask that. I think they said, okay, Tank. Okay,
Sure.
Mr. Rabbit. Crowbar finds the demon's casket.
I wrote crypt.
He rocks out in front of the casket, and then Daphne screams. He goes back to see what's going on. The kid cam is back.
Tori's in the women's locker room filming all the chicks naked, apparently.
I guess.
That's exactly what happened.
Well, that's not what happened. What they talked about.
No, Tori goes, put that thing away. He goes, not when there's so many naked women around. And she goes, ha 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 ha. She kisses him. It's like, this is weird.
It is weird.
It's bizarre.
An Oklahoma promo. Okay.
Dude, when this guy came out, I thought, am I watching the wrong show? Why is Oklahoma out here? For a wretched, Russo-rific segment.
Yes, it was.
This was horrible.
So, last we saw Oklahoma, he was breaking bottles over women's head and pouring barbecue sauce on them and winning the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yes, correct.
Now he announces he is GM of the WCW Women's Division.
Yes.
The first thing he says as general manager of the women's division is that women have no place in wrestling, but it's adorable they keep trying. What the fuck, dude?
Dude, it gets worse. He goes, all of the women will need intense physical examinations, and I will be present for all of them.
Yes.
Can you imagine that line in 2019?
No. So he brings out a man he claims is Dr. Haywood Jeter to discuss this medical testing.
Haywood Jeter.
Yeah. He says this is Medusa's plastic surgeon. And Dr. Jeter announces, or he answers the questions, but he says he has worked on Medusa's nose, eyes, lips, chest, and ass.
Has her chest been augmented? Has her ass been augmented? The doctor says yes. Not sure that's legal. Seems to be like a HIPAA violation.
He even noted.
They even
there's-
said that.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a doctor-patient privilege or whatever.
Yeah.
So, Medusa comes out.
Her chest has, in fact, been augmented.
no question.
Holy Jesus. I can confirm an augmented chest.
Yes. She slaps and kicks the doctor, and the only good thing in this entire segment, after she lays the doctor out, she looks at Oklahoma and shouts, "And you, asshole!" And she kicks him in the head.
Then she stomped his nuts.
And she kicked him in the balls.
The show is wretched.
What a terrible segment I wrote.
It was horrible.
The worst part was Medusa was getting out of the ring after this terrible segment, and some guy in the first row reaches over and literally grabs her chest, and she like almost murdered him. Oh, it was terrible.
Flair and his harem are watching themselves on TV backstage. Gene says the executive board has been in a meeting, and Terry Taylor is coming with big news.
They've been in a meeting for hours.
Terry Funk walks. Flair and Crowbar walk. Taylor has his big announcement.
Yeah, this is what they spent hours talking about. He says, so Jeff Jarrett's been making matches, and the executive board, we can't change the matches he has signed. But we can change the stipulations. What?
I don't know.
He says Slick Johnson no longer the referee. Sid versus Hall tonight is now a title match. So the storyline is Jeff Jarrett wants to win the WCW title. So if Hall wins tonight, he will not have the opportunity to win the WCW title from Sid. They even have Jarrett backstage explaining this. And Scott Hall saying, I'm just going to soften him up for you. So keep all of that in mind, please.
So Jarrett is outraged about this announcement that Scott Hall will get a title shot tonight. Have a video package of the Flair Funk I Quit match from 1989.
That was better than David Flair versus Terry Funk, I can confirm.
I will say about this the talking segment here, Mark Madden has a lot of one-liners. Some of them are funny. Some of them are going to piss me off. He has tremendous delivery.
Yeah.
His voice is fantastic. So we get Terry Funk versus David Flair in an I Quit match. And the whole match is Funk is beating David's ass and wanting Rick to come out instead.
Well, first he cuts a promo on Rick and he says, come down here and face me in an I Quit match. You're a 14-time champion. You should be proud of that. But it means you had your ass beat 14 times. Come on down here. I'll kick your ass for the 15th time. So he turns around and David has a chair. David Flair gives him 5 unprotected chair shots to the head of this 54-year-old man bending the chair.
Check. That happened, yeah.
Funk then beats the shit out of him. Pile drives him on the mats. Pile drives him on the floor. Says, you better come out here, Flair, while your kid's damn well alive. Do you quit, you little bastard? David says, I ain't quitting. Never knew he was so tough.
Yeah. So they recreate the pile driver through the table spot that Funk did with David's dad.
Yep.
Still won't quit. Now, after all of this beating, let's review. Pile driver on the mats outside,
Yep.
pile driver on the cement outside, pile driver through the table outside. Now Funk's just going to do like an elbow through a table.
Yeah.
And he gives Ric Flair one more chance to come out.
He's still upset that Flair told him that he lives on a chicken ranch.
Yes.
I don't eat any goddamn chickens like you, he says.
Yes.
And he goes, I don't need to beat on this kid anymore. I'll quit now, but I'm not going to quit when I get my hands on you, Ric Flair, later. So he quit.
Yeah.
So David Flair won an I Quit match against Terry Funk.
Yes.
This show is atrocious.
So Mike Tenay is looking on at this in disapproval.
You don't say.
Arn tells him to get a camera crew ready. They go to break. When they come back, Arn says, that was a beating David didn't have to take. I almost agree with Scott Steiner.
Where was his father?
Ric Flair's dancing around with 3 broads when he should have been that kid's dad. And Funk, you went out and did that. Flair let it happen. I'm bound out of this whole thing. I feel like stepping out of the human race. This made him sick to his stomach. He doesn't want any part of it.
Man.
Well, they're sure getting me to cheer for these guys, aren't they?
Hey, I don't think they know who's supposed to be over right now.
Disco Inferno versus Stevie Ray.
I wrote Stevie Richard. I was baffled. Thank you for correcting my notes.
Disco was shredded tonight, by the way.
Yeah, Stevie had agreed him in one. That's it.
There was a slapjack and stuff, but yeah. The Tiger Driver 91, really. This one was.
Yes.
Sometimes he did pedigree, but the little lift first, but still drops him at pedigree. This one he pretty much dropped Disco right in his head.
So let me recap the next segment. Scott Hall's with Jeff Jarrett, okay? Jeff Jarrett is upset that the title is on the line tonight. Scott Hall says, listen, even if I win, the belt stays in the family. Jeff is not happy with this. So Scott Hall says, don't worry about it. I'm just going to soften Sid up for you. Clear?
Yes,
Thank
clear.
you. Thank you.
I do want to add, Jarrett pulls Hall aside and asks, do you know why they're giving you this title shot? And Hall says, yeah, I've been owed a title shot since I won that World War III thing in 1997.
He's not wrong.
No.
That's the best part.
Two and a half years later.
He's not wrong.
I like that he termed it that World War III thing.
That's what it fucking was.
It absolutely was. Gene interviews Sid. Sid says, everyone treats the NWO like a six-headed monster. Tonight, Scott Hall faces final extinction and total oblivion. Fighting words.
This is the first Sid interview I've ever seen, and I want to watch all of them.
This is the first Sid interview you've ever seen?
Yes.
Oh my God. Back like 5 months.
Oh.
It's incredible what you missed.
Find the one he did in the Alamo Dome.
There's one in the Alamo Dome that's great.
Yes.
And there's a lot of others that are not great, but that's why they're great.
Even his bad ones are great.
Yes.
Yeah. Flair leaves the women. Why did he even come to this building? What? He brought 3 into the building. They watched themselves on the monitor. He left.
Well, maybe he had a plan, but then that whole David thing happened.
I suppose. He tells Arn, you're in way over your head.
And then I had something special for Arn tonight. One of the women.
I see.
He can't believe that Arn is mad at him when he had a woman for him. It's a nature boy. He's off to party.
Yeah. Bam Bam Bigelow with Finley as ref.
Just shit.
Here's everything I wrote down. Finley gives Knobs a trash can, but then hits him with a chair and fast counts him.
I wrote, what is the point of this story? Knobs wrestling with a broken arm. This is awful. Goofy hardcore match. Finley hits Knobs with a chair, puts Bigelow on top of the pin. Earlier, he'd helped Knobs. Bigelow, new champion. This sucks. I'm over it.
Yeah.
Shane, your thoughts?
I miss anything?
No, I wrote basically exact same thing. Fucking sucked. The one thing I did rate, I was so angry. Tony Schiavone had a line after Bigelow hit Knobs' arm with the crutch, and he used the phrase aluminum crutch, and I'm like, dude, can you just sell like a metal crutch or
Like
something?
steel?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was
Platinum.
just awful.
He's done that before, if I recall correctly. There was an aluminum ladder or something.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah, he
like,
said something about the ladder's made of aluminum. Like, no, it's made of metal. It's made of titanium. It's hard.
The Mama Luke's brawl with Lenny and Lodi.
Yippee.
Kidman and Tori are messing around with the camera backstage.
Okay, so, as much as I hate this show, okay, there are some things that I like about the show, and one of them is this. We had the fucking Kiss Demon against Kidman, okay? A guy dressed up as Kiss, wrestling Billy Kidman. They go out there, they have a match, it's whatever, and then Kidman wins with a top rope Frankensteiner, which is better than the shooting star for this guy. So when the match is over, Crowbar runs down and he attacks Kidman. Great! He's a Kiss fan.
Yes, they established
This was established earlier in the show
and last week.
that Crowbar loves Kiss.
Yes.
Kidman beat the Kiss Demon, now Crowbar's mad. Great. That made me happy. Match was
Makes
whatever.
sense.
It did make sense. That's all I asked for.
So the most shocking thing on either show this week, they actually played God of Thunder for the Demon.
Yeah.
How Gene Simmons let this pass, I'll never know. So, among the matches, they are billing for Super Brawl. They are. You mentioned this earlier. It's true. They are advertising matches on the show to get you to buy them.
And what a match.
Demon versus a mystery opponent.
Yes.
Where's my cable bill? I gotta call this fucker right now. Okay, Sid smiles and laughs backstage. Awesome. Lex has a chair with Hulkster's name on it. Scott Hall assures the NWO it's all under control. Somewhere in here, Total Package versus Hulk Hogan is officially announced for Super Brawl.
Yep.
Lex Luger promo.
Lex comes out for the promo, and they actually showed a replay of Hulk Hogan giving Liz the most ridiculous atomic drop in the history of wrestling. They showed a replay of this.
So
That was too much for me.
So Lex has been a comedy act for months, and now they decided he's supposed to be a badass. So he's insisting he's no comedy act. Since Hulk's not here, let's talk to Hulk's best friend, Jimmy Hart. Jimmy comes out, says Lex is a Hulk Hogan wannabe. He will never sell in arenas like Hulk Hogan. He will never sell merchandise like Hogan. And Lex says the difference between me and Hulk Hogan is I have a vicious streak. And he lays Jimmy out. He penalizes his arm, breaks his arm, just like he did to Brian Knobbs last week. He'll see Hulk Hogan at Super Brawl.
See, this was one of those things where it wasn't bad. It's like he's feuding with Hogan. Jimmy Hart is Hogan's friend, and he broke his arm, and that's that. But the problem is, Luger has no credibility. He's been a comedy geek. Hogan hasn't been around, and like nobody cared about Jimmy. He's out there dressed as a production guy.
Yeah.
It was like on paper, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. It's like it makes sense, but it just did not work here.
Scott Hall walks. Sid Vicious walks and also screams his own name.
Yeah. It's like a yes chant.
Sid, by himself.
Yeah.
So we get Sid Vicious versus Scott Hall.
They got 4 minutes.
It took them 3 of those minutes came after the ref bump.
Yes.
There's a ref bump. Hall calls out Jarrett. It's 2-on-1 now. And then Jarrett just starts to leave. The match isn't over. The title's still on the line. He just goes to walk away. Scott Hall, and I was stunned. I noticed Scott Hall is a big guy, but he's in fact smaller than Sid. He got Sid up for the Razor's Edge.
Sure did, yeah.
That was mighty. I'm stunned. Jarrett is even more stunned because he thinks he's going to lose a title shot now. He runs down.
You understand.
I do understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Hall hits the edge. He goes for the cover. Jarrett is infuriated.
Yeah.
He doesn't want Hall to win his title.
No.
He runs down there and he hits him with a guitar. And he puts it on top and Sid retains the title. None of the announcers can figure out why he did this. I was so angry. This was explained in like 3 different segments. These fucking announcers can't figure out why Jeff Jarrett hit Scott Hall with a guitar. I don't know why that made me so mad. It's like,
I don't either.
for once, there's something in WCW that actually makes sense, and the announcers have to act like it doesn't make sense. Even though it does. And they explained it 3 times on this show. That was a horrible show.
I was mad because the NWO just got together like 3 weeks ago after like 6 months of tease and build.
Yeah.
And it's a month later. Brett's gone. Nash is apparently gone. Jarrett is now fighting with Hall. What's the point?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Shane, any final thoughts before we get into these?
Was this your first ever Nitro, Shane?
It was.
Oh my God.
God.
I know.
They're not all this bad. Some are much worse.
You jumped in the deep end. Yeah, this was not the worst Nitro we've ever seen, but it was very, very bad.
Oh, God. The one thing, you basically captured all of my feelings. The one thing I will say is, Brian, you complain all the time about Shane McMahon's punches.
Yes.
I think Sid's are worse. Because and the only reason I say this is because when Sid got up on that middle rope and started punching Hall, they were so slow, and you could like see that they weren't connecting. At least when Shane does it, he's like using high velocity, so like you
Sure.
maybe it's the speed that's hurting them.
Well, it's a different kind of bad punch.
Shane's are worse, but Sid's are funnier.
Well, how can I describe this? Sid doesn't look like he's doing any damage. It looks
Right.
fake.
Right.
It's like a guy throwing fake punches, okay? Shane also looks like a guy throwing fake punches, but Shane looks like a guy who knows how to punch throwing fake punches.
Okay, that's fair.
Sid looks like a guy who doesn't know how to punch, pretending like he's punching. And the big difference is, if I had to choose which guy was going to punch me, I'd choose Sid. Because Sid will not touch me. Shane will throw terrible punches and hurt me.
That is a fair.
That's a good point. The other big difference is Sid will throw a horrible punch, and it will be horrible, but the guy will know it's a horrible punch and he will sell it.
Yes.
And then Sid will throw another horrible punch. Shane will throw a punch that the other wrestler can't even identify as a strike or if it landed, so he doesn't sell it.
Yes.
So Sid,
And then he gets hit really hard.
when Sid's throwing punches, it's bad pro wrestling. When Shane's throwing punches, it's the guy shadow boxing, the other guy not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're both terrible.
They're both awful.
Don't get me wrong.
Do not
Sid
punch like either man.
has horrifically, hilariously bad punches.
Yes.
Part of his charm.
Kinda.
Just funny when you see a guy that big and you think that he's a striker. You know what I mean?
Oh,
He's not a grappler. He's a striker.
I never thought about Sid's fighting style.
But he can't. You know what I'm saying? He's an amazing guy.
He is amazing.
You know, Shane, he's in the Hall of Awesome.
He is. I love that episode. Oh, he's so great.
He's
I
the
need
best.
to watch more of him.
He's the best. Vinny, are you ready for your report?
Brian, I'm always ready. The finishes on this show were pin despite interference, pin after distraction, ref stoppage due to KO, I quit match ends when the guy who was winning quit, pin after a tease of a weapon shot, pin after interference and fast count by a crooked ref, clean pin, and then pin after a